Oh, yeah.
I didn't have it like
Lo and behold, I didn't.
Yeah.
and I couldn't.
If I need to refer anything, can I look at yours?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
there's
please.
35 pages front to back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't blame you.
Are we good at 7 o'clock?
Do not disturb you.
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Well, we literally couldn't.
Y'all ready?
Do, yeah.
Well, it's just, yeah.
All right.
But it's okay.
Y'all ready? Here we
Yeah.
go. Just a little closer to me. Good evening, and welcome to the Mount Holly City Council meeting this April the 13th of 2026. I want to call our meeting to order. We're going to start out with our invocation that will be provided by Evangelist Miss June Barker, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, Boy Scout Troop 59. If you're able, please stand with me.
Let us pray. Father God, we come before you in the name of Jesus, recognizing you as the all-seeing, all-knowing, and ever-present God. I ask that you guide each person in authority with the city of Mount Holly, from the mayor, city manager, department heads, and on down. Grant them wisdom from above to lead the city with the knowledge of what's best for all concerned. I pray that you prosper Mount Holly and continue to bless it and the citizens. I pray for unity and that Mount Holly will be a city that people will desire to be a part of and consider themselves blessed to live or work here. Help all to treat one another in a way that's pleasing in your sight. I thank you, Lord, for the time you allowed me to be a part of this great city. Keep your hand upon the city of Mount Holly. In Jesus' holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Color guard, post the colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute. Pledge. I
Mayor, City Council, Madam Clerk, City of Mount Holly, how's everybody tonight? Good. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the fear of public speaking tonight. According to Google, over 40% of people have a fear of public speaking. I don't think any of us believe that. It's probably a lot higher than that. Tonight I have two very special young men that are going to get up in front of y'all and present their Eagle projects tonight. It's a great opportunity for them to get up and speak. The fear of public speaking, your actors, your singers, even your scoutmasters don't want to do it. So these are two very courageous young men, and I'm very proud of them, and I hope y'all get an opportunity to congratulate them tonight. Thank y'all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Ms. Barker, for your invocation. Thank you, Troop 59, for being here. We appreciate you, as always. We're going to move forward and set the agenda. Just a couple little things on the agenda on presentations. We need to move number 5, the proclamation recognizing National Line Workers Appreciation Day, to number 3. And we're going to move presentation of Eagle Scout Project to 4 and the Mount Holly Community Development Foundation to 5. Any other changes? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve the agenda. Okay, we've got Ms. Harris and we've got Ms. Shoemaker. All in favor? Motion passes. We have 6 items on our consent agenda. Any comments on those? All right. I entertain a motion to move forward with that. Mr. Craig and Mr. Meadows. All in favor? Motion passes. All right, we're going to start out with our presentations from Miss Mount Holly and Teen Miss Mount Holly 2026. If you ladies want to come up together, that will be great. Miss Taylor Foley, she is Miss Mount Holly 2026. And Hansika Nansanali, Miss Teen Mount Holly 2026. You ladies want to come to the podium.
Hi everyone, my name is Hansika Nasanali. I'm Miss Mount Holly's teen for the Miss America's Opportunity, and I'm also the founder of Undeniably Me, a global nonprofit organization dedicated to promoting inclusivity, self-confidence, and empowerment among young women. I started Undeniably Me as a simple but powerful belief. Every individual deserves to feel seen, feel heard, and valued for exactly who they are. Yet today, so many young people feel pressure to fit into expectations, often losing their confidence and a sense of identity in their process. Through Undeniably Me, I have the privilege of reaching students across the multiple countries and communities, impacting thousands of young people through workshops, school visits, and community initiatives. These programs focus on self-acceptance, leadership, kindness, mental well-being, giving students the tools they can carry with them for life. To expand this mission, I authored a children's book titled The Heart Garden, which promotes self-love, diversity, inclusion, and heart health. What makes this book especially meaningful is that it's not just a story, but an interactive experience with built-in reflection and educator resources that encourage deeper conversations both in classrooms and at home. This work has already begun right here in Mount Holly. I have had the opportunity to visit and read to students in local schools, connecting directly with young people in this community. In those classrooms, I've seen firsthand how powerful it is when students feel encouraged to embrace who they are. I've watched them open up, share their thoughts, and begin to see their uniqueness as something to be proud of. These moments may seem small, but they create lasting impact. They build confidence, strengthen peer relationships, and help shape a more inclusive and supportive environment within these schools. That's why I am here today. I believe Mount Holly has the opportunity to continue investing in its youth by expanding access to programs like Undeniably Me. When we invest in helping young people feel secure in who they are, we are not just impacting individuals, we are strengthening the future of this entire community. Thank you for your time, and I love the opportunity to continue working with Mount Holly to expand this impact.
Thank you so much.
Hello. Mayor Moore, council members, and the people of Mount Holly, good evening. My name is Taylor Foley, and it is an honor to stand before you today as your Miss Mount Holly 2026. I want to introduce myself properly. I am a cum laude graduate of UNC Charlotte, dual degrees in communication and political science. I am a marketing manager at TriPoint Homes, one of the very few women in a principal leadership role in the residential construction industry in this state. I'm the founder of my own photography and creative company. I am a worship leader, a podcast host, and I have also been involved in the Miss America opportunity for 20 years since the age of 8 years old. Standing in a room not unlike this one, learning what it meant to use your voice for something bigger than yourself. Underneath all of that, the very center of who I am is a faith that got there before any of those titles did. Jesus called me to serve long before I wore a crown, and everything I am about to share with you tonight flows from that same calling. The initiative I'm here to tell you about tonight is called SMILE, which stands for Sharing Moments, Inspiring, and Loving Elders. I need to start with a fact that I believe should stop all of us cold. Chronic isolation among older adults poses health risk equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. 15. And more than 1/3 of seniors across America are living in that kind of silence right now. Not in another state, not in the abstract, right here, in our communities, in our neighborhoods, in Mount Holly. There are elders in the city who wake up every single day without a visitor, without a phone call, without anyone who knows their name. They are disappearing in silence while the modern world moves on without them. My personal reason for this mission is my 87-year-old grandmother, my Mimi. She is sharp, she is hilarious, and she carries wisdom no classroom could ever teach. The relationship I have with her did not just shape who I am, it ignited this mission. I started to wonder, what about the women who do not have someone showing up? What about elders whose stories have never been told, whose wisdom has never been honored, who are living in obscurity without access to basic resources, without anyone advocating for them? Smile exists to change that, not with a program, but with presence. I want to tell you exactly what happens when you show up, because people always ask me, what does Smile look like on an afternoon in a senior community? And the honest answer is, it looks like a lot of laughter. I have been adopted officially, unofficially, in every way that matters by hundreds of grandparents across the state. I walk through a door and I immediately have 17 new people telling me I remind them of their granddaughter, offering me food I did not ask for, and giving me life advice I absolutely needed. I have more adopted grandparents than most people have cousins, and every single one of them has changed me. But I also want to tell you what else I have seen, because this is the part that matters most. I've sat with a woman who had not felt purposeful in years, who told me that after our visits, she started calling her own grandchildren every single day, that she wanted to influence them the way that she could see I had been influenced by mine. She did not need a program. She needed someone to remind her that she still had something to give. I have watched an elder who rarely speaks light up and sing every word of a song that she had not heard in decades. A woman living with Alzheimer's who could not always remember the day of the week or recall the full lyric of a song from 40 years ago, clear as a bell, a memory unlocked by connection that no medication could reach. There is power in that moment that I cannot fully explain, but I have seen it, and I believe with everything that I have that every single one of us, every person in this room is equipped to create it. You do not need a title, you do not need training, you just have to show up. Connection is not a program, it is a human gift, and it is freely available to every one of us. 2 years ago, I launched Cookie Connect, a partnership with North Carolina Girl Scout troops that sends young girls directly into senior residential communities. They do not just drop off cookies, they sit down. They teach a resident how to video call their grandchildren, listen to a life story. They learn what it means to be a bridge and not a bystander. In 2 years, we have raised funds to donate over 700 boxes of Girl Scout cookies, hand-delivered to senior communities across North Carolina. What began as a delivery became proof that the smallest gestures carry the deepest impact. I want Mount Holly to host Cookie Connects. I want local Girl Scout troops from our own schools walking into our own senior centers, earning a badge that says, I saw someone today who needed to be seen, and I did not look away. Tonight, I also want to bring you a bigger idea and a direct ask for this council's partnership in making it real. I want to host a senior expo right here in Mount Holly. There are organizations in this county, healthcare providers, housing assistance programs, transportation services, legal aid resources, technology navigators that exist specifically to help our senior population. Programs that could change someone's quality of life. Programs that many of our elders have never heard of because nobody has ever put them all in the same room at the same time and said, this is for you. That is what a senior expo does. It brings those providers together under one roof in one afternoon so that the elders of Mount Holly and Gaston County can walk in and walk out knowing about every resource available to them. I have the platform, the marketing expertise, and the community relationships to build this event, and what I need from this council is partnership. Your relationships with service providers, and your voice in telling the community that this matters. So tonight, I'm making 3 specific asks. First is anyone who has a relationship with a local senior facility, assisted living community, or residential care home in or around Mount Holly, I'm asking for that introduction. Smile visits are free. They require nothing but time and a willingness to show up, and they leave every room better than they found it. Second, I am asking that this council partner with me on the Mount Holly Senior Expo. Let's put on something for this city, and let's do it for the people who built it. And third, I'm just asking for your voice. When you are at a community event, talking to a business leader, sitting at a dinner table, say Smile, say Cookie Connect, say Senior Expo. Tell people that your Miss Mount Holly is building something real and that Mount Holly is behind it. I can build a movement, but every movement needs a community that believes in it first, and you are that community. Mayor Moore, council members in Mount Holly, I am not standing here as a title. I'm standing here as a granddaughter who refuses to let the people who shaped us disappear without a fight. I have a proven record, a clear plan, and years of conviction that service is the highest use of any platform. It is an honor to represent you, and I will not waste a single day of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give these ladies a hand. These ladies will be competing in, on June the 27th in High Point for the title of Miss North Carolina and Teen Miss North Carolina. Is that right? So we wish you the very best, and thank you for representing our city so well. We appreciate it. So next on our agenda, during presentations, we have the swearing in of some firefighters. So if I could have the council meet me on the floor, please. We're going to have Ben Hayes. If he'll come up first. Ben?
Mayor, council, citizens of Mount Holly, I'm Fire Chief Ryan Baker, and I'm honored to stand up here as the fire chief of this great department. Tonight, we'll be swearing in Firefighter Ben Hayes, Firefighter Jacob Hovis, Captain Olin, and Captain Burke. And these guys will do an oath, and it means something. I heard a great story a couple weeks back by a Green Beret who was wounded in Afghanistan. And he said one thing that he tells people when they say, thank you for your service. He answers them, you're worth it. And that is so true in what we do every single day and every single night. When that call comes out, these firefighters and the police officers and other mercy workers, they run to save and help you in those situations. So when you have an opportunity, thank a first responder, thank a police officer for the job that they do. So Ben, he's always wanted to be a firefighter growing up. He was a junior firefighter with Wesley Chapel starting at age 15. And at age 18, he was able to start working part-time. And then shortly thereafter, we hired him up here in Mount Holly. So Ben, if you would like to do your oath. Gracie?
You place your right hand on the Bible and raise your left hand. I, Ben Hayes, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the state of North Carolina against all enemies, both foreign and domestic, and I will faithfully and impartially discharge my duties as a firefighter of the city of Mount Holly under appointment of the city of Mount Holly to the laws of North Carolina to the best of my skills and abilities, so help me God. Congratulations.
Like Ben, Jacob started in the fire service at age 15 as a volunteer firefighter at East Gaston, where he continually serves now as a volunteer still. Jacob started his full-time career at the City of Gastonia Fire Department, and we are honored to have him to join our ranks tonight. And his dad, Jeff Hovis, will be pinning him as well.
I, Jacob Hovis, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the state of North Carolina against all enemies, both foreign and domestic, and I will faithfully and impartially discharge my duties as a firefighter of the City of Mount Holly under appointment of the City of Mount Holly to the laws of North Carolina to the best of my skills and abilities, so help me God. All right, congratulations. All right, photo time. Come here a minute. Any family members that want to be up here, come on up. Next up, Captain Burke, you'll come up, please.
So, to introduce Burke here, he started in April of 2014 at Catawba County Volunteer Fire Department, and he served there and still serves. He started his full-time career with the City of Shelby and also some time in Hickory, and we were able to wrestle him away from Hickory. You see a pattern here. We've got a great fire department, and we attract great people, and Burke is a great, fine example of a great person and a good leader. Captain Burke serves at our North Fire Station, which also helps cover Mountain Island Lake as well. So tonight, his wife and his son are going to come up and pin Dad.
Burke, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the state of North Carolina
A little bit about Captain Olin. He's from Illinois. He started in the fire service at age 22. He moved to North Carolina in '08, where he joined Cheryl's Ford Fire and Terrell Fire and Rescue. Yeah, there we go. I knew I would mess that up. It's okay. But he served there from 2009 to 2008, and he joined Mount Holly in 2018, and he serves with us today. So as Captain Burke, he is also, Olin is a captain at our North Fire Station as well. Tonight, his wife Jenna is going to come up and pin him, along with their children.
I, Chris Owen, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the state of North Carolina against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. And I will faithfully and impartially discharge my duties as a captain of the City of Mount Holly Fire Department under appointment of the City of Mount Holly to the laws of North Carolina to the best of my skills and abilities, so help me God. Congratulations.
Well, you've made me come behind Scouts, amazing Miss Mount Holly's, beautiful children, and firefighters. So and just in case you're starting to whip out puppies, we're going to go ahead and get this done. So, my name is Martha Wegner, and I'm a Duke Energy employee, but I'm also a proud Gaston County resident and proud of the relationship and working relationship that Duke Energy has with Mount Holly. But what I am is honored to be a colleague of the men who stand behind me. We have first responders that we call line and service employees. We have men and women who are on call 24/7. These are on call tonight, so who work to provide the energy that powers our homes, our businesses, and our industries. And April is National Line Worker Appreciation Month, and I think you have something for them. Thank you. Oh, with me I have Dwight Ryan, whose 39-year anniversary is today. and I'd still hate to get in a fight with him. John Shelley and Trevor McCarthy.
Thank you, Martha. So I'm going to read this proclamation for National Line Worker Appreciation Day, April the 18th of 2026. Whereas line workers' roles are critical to the safe and efficient delivery of power for our customers, and whereas line workers are highly skilled professionals who undergo rigorous training to work with electricity safely and efficiently, and whereas line work comes with many hazards from extreme elements of storm damage to freezing cold or sweltering heat, and whereas line workers perform their duties day and night under severe conditions, looking out for each other and our community regularly without injury, and whereas they are our first line of defense and do the important work of keeping the lights on, from high-voltage transmission lines, from power plants to distribution lines that connect power to our customers' homes and businesses. And whereas line workers showed bravery and resilience to restoration and outreach to customers in the aftermath of historic Hurricane Helene. Now, therefore, I, David Moore, Mayor of Mount Holly, do hereby proclaim April the 18th, 2026 as National Line Worker Appreciation Day. And in Mount Holly, and commend in observance to all the citizens on this day of in Mount Holly, the 13th day of April, 2026. All right. Next up, we have the presentation of Eagle Scout projects for Catawba Heights Neighborhood Park and Tuckasegee Park. Mr. Jusko. We also have Aiden Eubanks and Troy Matthews from Boy Scout Troop 59.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We have two outstanding Eagle Scout projects tonight. Aiden Eubanks will be presenting one, and Troy Matthews will be presenting. Both projects were unanimously approved by the Parks and Recreation at their February 24th meeting, and both projects are supported by staff. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aiden Eubanks. I'm from Boy Scout Troop 59, and I will be presenting my Eagle Scout project. Where? All right. For my Eagle Scout project, I'm building a A-frame swing in Catawba Heights Neighborhood Park. So the benefits are it will benefit the citizens of the park in Mount Holly. It's a good resting spot, and it will make the park look better. And it will benefit the people by giving a good resting spot and allowing parents a place to relax with their kids playing on the playground. This is a list of my materials. This is just what it's going to look like. And then this is where I'm going to be putting it. It's going to be about 20 feet away from the playground under the tree right here. And that's it. So does anyone have any questions?
Any questions? Okay.
you.
Thank you, young man.
All right, now we're going to have Troy Matthews.
Hi, I'm Troy Matthews, and this is my Eagle Project, and I'm with Boy Scout Troop 59. What I'll be building is 3 wooden trash can covers at Tuckasegee Park in Mount Holly. The benefits of this is because it protects trash cans from like storms and animals that could get into it and knock it over. These are a list of materials that I will be using to build this. These are some models of the ones that are already installed in Tuckasegee, and it'll just benefit the whole community. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions? We just, yes, thank you so much for your efforts here in Mount Holly.
Good job, guys.
Do we need a motion? Okay. Ms. Harris is going to make a motion to approve both of these projects. I have a second by Mr. Brooks. All in favor? Motion passes. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, next up under presentations from the Mount Holly Community Development Foundation, Mr. Jeff Lee.
Good evening. My name's Jeff Lee, Chair of the Mount Holly Community Development Foundation. Today I'm proposing a request for installing gallery hanging hardware at the Grand Hall here at the Municipal Complex. The Mount Holly Community Development Foundation respectfully submits this proposal requesting installation of professional hanging hardware in the Grand Hall of the Mount Holly Community Complex. As a central gathering space for civic, cultural, and community events, the Grand Hall is uniquely positioned to serve as a premier exhibition venue for local and regional artists. Adding gallery-grade hanging infrastructure would significantly enhance the hall's functionality, aesthetic appeal, and value as a community asset. The Grand Hall hosts a variety of public events, yet its ability to support high-quality art exhibitions is limited by the lack of appropriate hanging systems. Installing gallery hardware such as a rail-based hanging tracks, cables, and adjustable hooks will provide safe, flexible, and professional method for displaying artwork. It would also protect the facility walls from damage, elevate the overall presentation of art within the space, and expand the types of exhibitions and cultural programming the city can host. The enhancement aligns with the city's ongoing commitment of supporting arts, cultural, and community engagement. The impact for Arts Mount Holly and their programming. The Mount Holly Community Development Foundation, Arts Mount Holly Committee hosts 2 annual art events that draw significant participation from artists, residents, visitors. These events have grown steadily in scale and ambition, and the addition of gallery hanging hardware will allow them to reach their full potential. Some of the benefits that would be included would be creating a true gallery experience for artists and attendees, improving professionalism and visual impacts of exhibitions, allowing for more complex, diverse installations, including larger works and curated collections, supporting the long-term goal of expanding to a multi-day art event in Mount Holly and strengthening Mount Holly's identity as an arts-forward community. With this upgrade, the Grand Hall would become a signature exhibition place for the region, supporting not only Arts Mount Holly events, but also school exhibitions, civic showcases, rotating art displays, and cultural programming throughout the year. Investing in the gallery hanging hardware is modest, one-time improvement that yields long-term benefits. It enhances the municipal complex as a cultural destination, encourages community pride and participation, supports local artists, and provides opportunities for youth engagement and art education. This improvement aligns with the Foundation's mission of community building and leadership development. So what is the request? the Mount Holly Community Development Foundation respectfully requests that the City of Mount Holly approve the installation of professional gallery hanging hardware in the Grand Hall, select or approve a system that is durable, flexible, and appropriate for municipal exhibition space, coordinate installation through city staff or approved contractors. The foundation is prepared to collaborate on system recommendations, installation planning, and future programming that utilizes this enhancement. Excuse me. We do have a recommendation of the Walker picture hanging system, which is a durable, flexible gallery grade system widely used in municipal and gallery environments. The Walker display components do require continuous rail support system and rods and hooks. After visiting the Awaken Gallery located here in Mount Holly, it was confirmed that their professional gallery system uses similar approach, a simple, durable mounted rail high on the wall that supports fiberglass rods and adjustable hooks. For the Grand Hall, we would recommend installing that rail on the wood beam that separates the upper and lower parts of the brick wall. The rail and rod system mirrors the proven setup used at Awaken Gallery and provides cost-effective professional solution for rotating exhibitions and multi-art day events. The approximate cost for all of the hardware and mounting hardware is about $3,500. Because this project is well suited for in-house installation, the Mount Holly Community Development Foundation recommends the city's facilities department completes the installation, mounting the conduit at the existing wood beams, avoids damage to historic brick walls, and keeps the project within a manageable scope for city personnel. This is a DIY installation. It eliminates the need for subcontractors, significantly reducing the overall cost of the project. In conclusion, adding gallery hanging hardware to the Grand Hall is a strategic, high-impact improvement that will elevate Mount Holly's cultural offerings and support the continued growth of Arts Mount Holly. The investment strengthens the municipal complex as a vibrant community hub and positions the city to host art events of increasing scale, quality, and regional significance. The Mount Holly Community Development Foundation appreciates your consideration and looks forward to continuing our shared work of building a thriving, creative, and connected community. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Lee? Any questions? No?
I'd like a motion. I'd like to make a, did you have a question?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to know how much are we putting into this?
As far as the city?
The proposal that the Community Development Foundation provided some time back was approximately $3,500. Is that right, Jeff?
That's correct.
Mr. Brooks?
Can our staff perform as far as the hanging and all that stuff?
I believe that we can. If council wishes, we can vet this a bit further, come back with a recommendation based on what we can and cannot do if you need additional information. But we have been working with Community Development Foundation, our public maintenance staff have looked at this. We've looked at different samples and different options, but we are aware of the request, and we feel as though if council does approve, we would be in a position to handle this in-house.
Mr. Meadows?
Sorry. Question actually for Jonathan. While we're exploring putting the system up, could we actually explore lighting as well and see if there's a potential way of taking the existing lighter, maybe changing the sconces and having the ability to uplight as well?
We'll be happy to look at that, Councilman Meadows.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, I would ask for a motion to approve for the Mount Holly Community Foundation for these subgrades. I think the lighting part will be, down the road, but we'll get some more information on that.
I'd like to make a motion for staff to investigate this and bring it back to council.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Shoemaker, second by Mr. Meadows. All in favor? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Lee. Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break. 5-minute break.
that's the purchase and sale agreement.
Right.
Escrow and development agreement. There were some minor tweaks this afternoon, language of the resolutions and numbers. So,
Yeah, thank you.
yes, ma'am.
You can go through that if you need to.
It is. This is the purchase and sale.
What the heck? I was looking, I was like, there's something there.
So you have the resolution and the purchase
where we
and
go?
sale. Did you still need to vote? I don't think we have to.
He was in the back somewhere.
All right.
Yeah, you have the purchase.
Yeah, I'll make sure.
I assume so.
Guys, if y'all will remember to speak in the microphone, they can't hear it. Hey, y'all be sure.
His facial expressions were so cute.
The second one was funny too, I didn't want to be up here. You got a kick out of that as well.
So Mel told me she took the job at Walgreens.
Did she?
Yeah.
Trying to be in, which I told her was, you got things you need to do. Y'all got bills.
She may have took that just to
Yes,
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm trying to get her.
So, you know about that?
Tell- Oh, there you go.
Especially when it takes over your mind, which is
Testing, 1, 2. Should I sing? Ah, la, la, la.
No.
Right, yeah, okay.
Get everything in.
All right. Everybody ready to kick back off? Or? No, about the read this first. All right, Mr. DuPont's good. Okay, we're going to get started back. During our public hearings, I would note that we will be opening these public hearings and receiving public input on the rezoning and annexation petition for what is commonly referred to as the Holly Heights Townhome Development. We will not be taking action on these items until the final agreements are prepared and presented at the future meeting. So our first public hearing is a continuation of public hearing to consider a rezoning of tax parcels number 177-847, 177-844, 177-594, 177-846, and 218-371 from R1 Gaston County and R12 City to CDMF Conditional District Multifamily for the Holly Heights Townhome Development, case R26-1.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Planning staff has been working with representatives of Moore and Van Allen for the proposed 207, formerly 220 unit townhome subdivision to be called Holly Heights since December 2024. The applicant wishes to rezone the entire 34.35 acres to a conditional district zoning for multifamily townhomes and amenities from the Gaston County R1 zoning district. The Planning Commission heard this conditional district rezoning case at their regular meeting on March 2nd, where members voted to recommend to City Council that you table this consideration of this matter until the April 6th Planning Commission meeting, as well as to tonight's meeting. The applicant considered reducing the number of units from the proposed 220 to 207 or less units, and the applicant looked into better management of the traffic that could be generated by the proposed development. Staff also reran the cost-benefit analysis with the reduced number of units, and the development still shows a positive value. Staff met with both the developer and the city's traffic engineering consultant, Kimberly Horn, on March 10th. From that meeting, Kimberly Horn reps felt that there would not be any negative impacts to adjacent property owners as a result of traffic mitigation improvements. The applicant is still proposing the 207 units that were discussed at the March 2nd Planning Commission meeting. The revised site plan for Holly Heights that is showing the 207 units is included in your packets. Kimberly Horn was also present at the Planning Commission meeting on April 6th and answered questions from Planning Commission members related to the traffic impact analysis and traffic conditions along North Main Street for this proposed project. Planning Commission members also noted that vinyl siding should not be used and should be removed from their approved materials. The developer noted that vinyl would only be used on windows and soffits. Staff had also met with the developer to ensure that all mitigation improvements would be satisfied through the annexation agreement and a money in lieu option for the multi-purpose path and crosswalk. After discussing this matter briefly, the Planning Commission then voted to make a favorable recommendation on a 4-to-1 vote during their meeting held last Monday on March 6th. During their discussion, members raised concerns about the traffic that will be generated via this development. The development, as I stated, will have 207 attached townhome units consisting of 4 possible building types, and the maximum height will be 35 feet. All units would feature 3 bedrooms and would range in size from 1,200 to 1,600 square feet. The applicant is proposing 9.46 acres of usable open space, which exceeds the required minimum of 9.44 acres. The applicant is also proposing to retain at least 23% or 7.97 acres of the site in pre-construction condition. The number of units did trip the threshold for requiring a TIA or a traffic impact analysis under the city's ordinance. Based on the TIA analysis and scoping meetings held, the applicant is accepting the responsibility for making these improvements, and the improvements were provided below in your packets. The applicant proposes architectural elements such as the base of all townhomes shall be wrapped with a masonry veneer to a minimum of 24 inches along the front and side elevations and will cover any exposed concrete from the primary foundation. A minimum of 2 siding materials shall be used on all front elevations. Such materials will include glass, brick, stone, simulated stone, precast concrete, synthetic stone, stucco, Symmetria siding, which is hardy plank. Vinyl will be just used as a trim, ephes or wood. All townhomes shall have an enclosed garage for at least one car. The garage doors will feature windows and carriage door treatments. The future land use map identifies this area adjacent to neighborhood residential and supports this type of subdivision. The annexation policy outlines a design guidelines matrix that created a scoring criteria for 25 elements found in the strategic vision plan and other best practices for reviewing annexations. The matrix is intended as a guide during review of conditional zoning reviews by making the quid pro quo process a step further. The methodology for this conditional rezoning resulted in a score of 114 out of 200 points and translates to very good scoring range. A public involvement meeting was held on Thursday, September 25th from 4 to 6 p.m. in the training room at the Municipal Center, or the Municipal Complex. 22 people attended this meeting and raised concerns regarding traffic and impacts to the character of the community. Thank you, and staff, the applicant, and Brady Finkley from Kimberly Horn, our city's traffic engineering firm, are here to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Livingston? Yes, sir, Mr. Meadows.
So you mentioned conditions on the materials specifically. Are those spelled out in the notes about what they're allowed to do and where it's allowed to go specifically in the zoning document that would be adopted?
The materials are listed on the plan. I don't are you saying exactly where on the buildings they should go?
So my concern is that you just said here publicly that we would have X, Y, and Z, and it was allowed to go in ABC.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not in the plan notes. So if it's not in the plan notes, if it says I can use vinyl, there's a legal argument that I can use vinyl. So we need to spell out where they can use vinyl specifically in the notes, so no one is ever questioning where vinyl was allowed to go, where the siding has to go and such. So I would encourage you to include a note that specifically says where different materials can be used.
And that can be added.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Livingston? Okay. I would entertain a motion to go into our continuation of our public hearing. Mr. Reeves, second by Ms. Shoemaker. All in favor? We're now in our public hearing. We have first off to speak at our public hearing is Ms. Sherry Costa. If you would come and state your name and address for the record, please.
Well, my name is Sherry Costa, 116 St. Vincent Place in Mount Holly. So I want to start by saying I've been a civil servant for a really long time, and I love public meetings. They start fantastic, like photos and honors and clapping, and then people like me get up, and all the air goes out of the room. So I will apologize in advance. So, Mayor Moore, Mayor Pro Tem Harris, and honorable council members, I am really in favor. I'm okay with development, but I'm not okay with Holly Heights. I'm okay with development that's proactive, thoughtful, heavy on community engagement, high in standards, and adds a higher quality of life to residents. Holly Heights does none of this. There are no desirable amenities. So when I was in I'm still in public life. If I was getting like dead fish sent to my door over a project that so many people hated, they were like, oh my God, please don't do this public project. We would go to the table over several community meetings and talk to them about trade-offs. Okay, we have to do this project because it's going to save lives, but what do you need to make this project more digestible? There was none of that. If there were fewer units, if there were amenities to the neighborhood, I wouldn't be here tonight. I have 2 17-hour days over the next 2 days, part of the public agency I work for. I would not be here tonight, but I am because I don't believe in this development. You've already approved the Leacroft housing, 162 units. You're going to add 207. Neither one of those developments have amenities for the community. No added trails, no convenience for the community. All it's going to add is traffic. I don't know about you all, but when my office was in Uptown, a 25-minute commute turned into a 1-hour commute with the last 1.7 to get into Mount Holly, 30 minutes. That's unacceptable. I have learned the hard way as a spokesperson. I joke about people upset with me as being a spokesperson for traffic impact studies. Traffic impact studies are not a reflection of reality. There were several projects I went out with residents and said, tell me why you don't believe the traffic impact study. Those projects changed significantly as a result of that going the extra mile with those residents. Traffic impact studies, they're the best tool cities have. They are not reality. This development is not in line with your strategic plan. You're going to stuff 1,400 units overall in application, approved, or about to be approved. There are 1,400 units you have in the pipeline for a 3-mile stretch of North Main, and nobody knows. Nobody knows. I had no idea Leacroft got approved when I bought my townhome. Nobody knows because the outreach does not go the extra mile. There was no consideration of affordable units for our civil servants. Just today, we honored firefighters, we honored civil servants, we honored Duke employees. They're not going to be able to afford these homes. Hearings are not community engagement. I heard that multiple times during the Planning Commission. This is not a discussion. This is me talking at you. Legally, you can't address me while I'm up at the mic. It's not a community conversation. One public hearing in the 11th hour, right before it goes to the Planning Commission, is not community engagement. The planning condition that says you must leave this town in the condition that it was when you arrived is fiction. It is a condition in your planning process. It's admirable, but it's fiction. It's a fallacy. You can't leave this town in the condition that developers arrive unless you build the infrastructure first, which you're not going to do because you don't have the money. And I understand that. And finally, your technical review committee, and I'm sorry for the critical nature of my comments, technical review committees for the public agencies I worked for were not a collection of one-on-one meetings with no data. No saying, this is our capacity in our sewer line, this is how X amount more homes that we can do, this is how emergency response are affected when you add X amount of houses. I saw none of that. My PRA request was addressed by someone who was not supposed to address my PRA request. I had to return, like, this is incomplete. This is, by general statute, you are legally required to fulfill Public Record Act requests. It was incomplete, and it was fulfilled by the wrong person. There is no transparency in this process. So my request to you is, please deny Holly Heights. I might not be up here for the next development if there are trade-offs that enhance quality of life for the residents along North Main and the general Mount Holly residents. Thank you.
Next up is Ms. Darlene Nussbaum. You'll please state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Darlene Nussbaum. My address is 120 North Canyon Ridge Drive. That is in Mountain Island Village, directly adjacent to this Holly Heights development. They sent out notices for people who live within 250 feet of this development. I live 25 feet from this development, so it really does impact me greatly. I spent the past month reading the zoning ordinances, the building ordinances, the annexation documents, and it wasn't easy reading. I have a bachelor's degree in business administration. I've read a lot of dry material, and believe me, that was some dry information. But I took it all in, I read it, and you measure a lot of things when you're talking about putting in developments. The only thing that's not measured, and I don't know how it would be measured, is you don't measure the impact it will have on the neighbors. And Mountain Island Village is 92 units. It's small, it's quiet, it's like a little village. I can't imagine putting something twice our size right next to us, 25 feet from us, how that's going to be. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, next up is Ms. Ruxandra Davis.
Good evening. My name is Ruxandra Davis, and I'm a homeowner in the Mountain Island Village, which is adjacent to the new development. I want to start by telling you that years ago, I was in the position of one of these new people that will come in this new development. I went in a new development in the Wake Forest, Raleigh area. I lived there for 9 years. But what happened there, and Wake Forest grew a lot. And I like it. I liked it very much how it happened. They opened the 540, if you know the area, help commute, and resolve some existing traffic problems as they started to expand. I love Wake Forest. I'm going many times back. I truly love what happened and how it grew. So I'm not opposed, and I know that this is the nature. People want jobs. We have jobs here. They're going to come. We want them to come in Mount Holly. But truly, it needs to happen in a way in which the quality of life of people that live now around it and in Mount Holly, and the ones that come, it's going to be a good quality of life. The thing is that we have some existing big problem with traffic for Mount Holly, and generally coming from Charlotte in Gastonia. So when we look at the traffic analysis that was done, and we say, oh, this development, 200-something houses, is not going to have an impact. We look at the bed situation, and I cannot see how the 200-something houses, 3 bedrooms, where probably the 2 cars per family will be the norm, would not affect the traffic on a 2-way road. And the only thing that we saw back after the first time we came and we raised our concern as neighbors right there was a reduction from 220 or something to 207. That's minimal. That's really not the answer that we expected or the one that will really make a difference. So I'm all for watching. I'm here in Mount Holly because the same with Wake Forest. It's a beautiful town with an old town, flair and people that like to be together, and we like to be here. I truly love it. But if I want to see it growing, I want to see it growing like the other place I lived, where some infrastructure was planned and was going along that 540, open a segment, and then another segment, and another segment. And along that, Wake Forest grew. I want this for the future of our town here. I know you are in your positions because you love this town and love the people. So I have to trust you that you want the same thing that I want. And I very politely and sincerely, I'm expecting and I'm requesting that you'll give it a thought. And let's slow down a little bit and see what can we do before we add more and more in a very quick time. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Rebecca Den Butler.
Good evening. My name is Rebecca Denbutter, and I live at 1711 North Main Street. I am not opposed to growth, but growth has to be based on accurate current information and realistic planning. The traffic study you are being asked to rely on to support this development falls short on both. First, the study analyzes a development of 194 townhouses, while the actual proposal is for 207. That means that traffic impacts being presented are understated from the outset. Second, much of the data in the study is already outdated. For example, the crash analysis relies on data from 2021 to 2024. Since that time, this area and the surrounding areas have experienced significant development and traffic increases. I can tell you from my personal observation, this year alone, I have seen 3 major accidents on North Main Street, at least 2 of which shut down the road completely. Third, the study ignores what residents experience every day. Trying to get on and off North Main Street at Lucia Riverbend and Mount Holly Road is a significant struggle. Those roads are extremely congested with frequent backups and ongoing safety issues. I understand the regulations do not require this area to be added to the traffic study, but that doesn't change the reality of the situation, and it doesn't change that this study does not meaningfully address that reality. Fourth, the study understates future growth. It assumes modest increases and includes only 2 nearby single-family home developments, both listed at 0% build-out. It does not include 3 of the 5 already approved housing developments and the 7 proposed annexations, all off of North Main Street. That does not reflect what is actually happening in this area. This project is not happening in a vacuum. Fifth, the study mentions major planned road improvements like the Belmont-Mount Holly Loop, but admits that these are not funded. This is exactly the concern. You are being asked to approve dense development without infrastructure in place to support it. Finally, the study acknowledges that key intersections will operate at poor levels of service with significant delays, and still concludes that there are no meaningful improvements required. This is not a solution. That is simply accepting congestion and safety risks as the outcome. Approving this level of density based on outdated and understated data puts existing residents at real risk. I urge you not to rely on this study as proof that this project is appropriate for this location. This area is already appropriately zoned for 100 single-family units and should remain zoned as such. Thank you.
Next, we have Joey Denbutter.
Good evening. My name is Joey Denbutter, and I live directly between the 2 plots proposed for rezoning. I am also not opposed to growth, but this proposal represents unreasonable growth that outpaces our infrastructure, alters the character of this community, and places burdens on current residents. Turning 30 acres of forest into 207 homes is not a small change. But most importantly, this proposal cannot be considered in a vacuum. There are 5 housing developments already approved but not started in Mount Holly, and 7 others that have active annexation petitions. All of this traffic is being directed onto North Main Street. Directly across the street, there is planned development that includes approximately 150 townhomes, 15 to 20 businesses, and multiple light industrial buildings. That developer already required to install a traffic light and expand the road on their side. This is a fundamental transformation of this area. These projects will impact the exact same stretch of North Main Street, yet they are being treated as if they are completely unrelated. They are not. These developers need to work together, and the city needs to require a coordinated infrastructure plan. Roads should not be widened once. Traffic control should not be installed once. The community should not be subjected to years of overlapping construction, repeated disruptions, and piecemeal fixes. Right now, there is no funded concrete plan to improve North Main Street. We've learned DOT funding is not possible until at least 2050. Meanwhile, traffic is already at a breaking point. Between Freightliner and Pinewood Elementary, North Main experiences complete gridlock on a daily basis, with cars stopped in both directions. Accidents are frequent, adding hundreds, if not thousands, of additional cars throughout all of the approved and not yet approved projects of additional cars without first fixing the infrastructure is simply irresponsible. At a minimum, the city should be evaluating reducing the speed limit from 45 to 35, as there will now be 3 traffic lights in a row. People are driving 45, they're really driving 50 or 55. You're asking for people to be running reds and to be causing accidents. This area is currently homey, wooded, and primarily single family. That's why people choose to live here. The current zoning already allows for development just at a scale that better fits the existing community and road capacity. I respectfully ask the city to slow down and plan responsibly. Approve development after infrastructure is funded, coordinated, and built. At a minimum, table this request so unified comprehensive plan can be created with a neighboring development. Thank you very much.
Okay, I entertain a motion to come out of a public hearing back into our regular meeting. Mr. Craig, and second by Mr. Meadows. All in favor? That motion passes. We're back in our regular meeting. I'm going to thank you, Mr. Livingston. I appreciate that. Our next public hearing is a continuing of a public hearing to consider a petition for annexation submitted by Lisa Grice and William Stewart Jr. for a 34.35 acre tract of land located at parcels number 177-847, 177-844, 177-594. I'm sorry. Okay, would you like to speak?
And I wasn't given the opportunity to present, may I?
Oh, yes, sure.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. My name is Bridget Grant. I'm a land use consultant with Moran Van Allen. It's a pleasure for me to be here tonight on behalf of Marquee Homes. I'm here with the development team representatives Brad Stanis and Dan Robertson. I'm going to switch the views here, make it a little easier. As you know, we've been navigating this process for quite some time to get here to this evening. The process is really set up to go through a fairly arduous step-by-step process with staff, as well as one in the community meeting and meeting with, presenting before the planning board for us to get to this point. And I'm pleased to say that we have staff support and that we did get the recommendation, a positive recommendation from the planning board. Our site is located on the northwest side of North Main Street, west of Catawba. It's about 34 acres and it is adjacent to Mountain Island Village. Just to clarify, what we're proposing, our density is a little bit different because we're basically a much larger site, so I'll go through some of the density later. You can also see that we're directly across the street from the proposed Abernathy rezoning, and we are working in collaboration to consider how their transportation improvements and our transportation improvements can make a better intersection overall. It's always important when you're looking at annexation to recognize that we're checking the boxes, that we're looking at efficient use of infrastructure, increasing the tax base contiguous to existing Mount Holly sites, improve service delivery, better land use coordination, and enhanced economic development. We are consistent with the adopted land use policy. That's one of the reasons that we have staff support in this location. Townhomes provide a compatible transition between the corridor's mixed-use character and the adjacent residential neighborhood. The site is currently zoned R1 under Gaston County and R12 Mount Holly for a small portion of it. Our proposed zoning is R8MF to allow development of a townhome-style residential that's consistent with what's directly adjacent to our site today. As I mentioned, it's sort of an iterative process. So we started the project probably over 18 months ago working with staff. Our original plan was 220 units. We were at 6.4 dwelling units per acre, and our buffer between our proposed development and the adjacent townhome community was 25 feet. We had about 7.69 acres of tree save. So after our community meeting, we had a number of conversations with the community about the buffer and what was happening between the existing residences and our proposed residences. As part of that conversation, we doubled the size of the buffer to 50 feet. When we went through the planning process, we acknowledged that in order for us to be truly compatible with the adopted land use policy, if we dropped our number of units, that would put us at 6 dwelling units per acre. For context, the Mountain Island community adjacent to us is just over 12 dwelling units per acre. So we are actually doing a less dense development on a larger site. We've got a little bit more open space as part of our overall development plan. And we do have pockets of open space throughout, amenity areas, and just by the very nature of the streams and creeks that run through the site, we've got a good bit of open space that can be amenitized. And Mr. Meadows, to answer your question, we do have the development standards spell out the specifics on the building materials to lock in the quality, not just say it in this meeting. When you look at another update that we met since the community meeting, this shows you our closest building to the existing development is about 82.6 feet. Again, this was our effort to try to give as much distance and buffer between the existing development and the proposed development and try to enhance that relationship. When we made our revised plan, one of the things that we did was try to use existing topography and features on the site to do a better site plan layout to be more conservative with how we could work with the site and its existing conditions. So you can see the areas outlined in red just show you how we reoriented the site. And you can see it created a good bit of open space through the existing fabric. We have a lot of conversation when we're working on rezonings and we're talking about increasing the population, about how the impacts will be for the schools. We just wanted to point out that we are under capacity for all of the schools in this area that we'd be impacting. We are also connecting to existing sanitary sewer and the existing water line. When you're talking about expansion, there are no extension costs anticipated. I have this slide in here because we do go through the traffic impact analysis. It's something that we use transportation engineers recommended by the town of Mount Holly to make sure, the city of Mount Holly, to make sure that it's fair. It's taking into consideration projected growth models. It's taking into consideration approved projects. It's not a snapshot in time for only what we're doing, but it takes into consideration everything else that's happening along the corridor and adjacent intersections. And Brady Finkley with Kimberly Horn is here and can answer questions specific to the traffic study. We have overlaid our development with all the anticipated lane changes and improvements just to demonstrate that it has been a collaborative and coordinated effort. Our development standards do include a number of provisions that speak to the quality of the homes to be constructed on the site. It's one of the ways we were able to get to that higher score on the annexation matrix, was how we were able to work with the site and the elevations to provide a higher quality of elevation. It's always important when you're going through these processes to look and see how what you're doing can align with the core values of the town. So we're trying to prioritize that small scale, walkable streets, the idea that we'll be able to connect to the future development across the street, looking for ways to enhance our sidewalks, not only on our site, but also through the community. And annexation provides infrastructure, sustainability, and continuity for services in the long term. I always like to close with the community benefits because that's really what conditional zoning is all about. It's supposed to be that process that which you raise the bar. We're asking for something that's not allowed under the existing zoning, and in exchange for that change, we try to do things that go a little bit above and beyond. So we've got over 9 acres of open space and greenway connections to promote outdoor recreation and walkability. We have amenities for our residents, pool, cabana, dog park, and other gathering areas designed for social interaction. We really focused on a pedestrian-oriented design throughout our community, as well as the crosswalk at North Main Street. We have nearly 8 acres of tree save and enhanced buffers to maintain the natural character. And our location along North Main Street supports access to retail services and employment opportunities. And we have, again, that always comes back to traffic, turn lanes at our access points to reduce congestion, improve intersection safety, and limited access to right in and right out to minimize any conflicts and keep the flow on North Main Street open. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Again, Brady Finkley is here from Kimberly Horn to answer any traffic questions.
Any questions? Mr. Meadows?
So in the traffic study, it was mentioned about reducing the speed limit on North Main. Was that something considered in the traffic study? So I'm looking at Brandon or Greg. What do you guys?
Brady just shook his head and said no, but
No.
Brady.
Okay.
Something overall, I mean, that didn't come up in any prior discussion. The TIA, you know, obviously, and Brady can speak to that, it's a level of service. They study it, they have to mitigate it, and they have to maintain that level of service. We have a really stringent TIA ordinance, as you all know. But certainly Brady could speak to any possibilities of reducing the speed limit.
Mr. Meadows?
Pause there for a moment before Brady gets involved. Could you talk about what our traffic impact ordinance requires and what the outcome would be without it?
So, having been here 25 years, I can tell you there's a history of development that was not required to do any traffic impact analysis. Most before 2017, unless traffic was a major concern, like in River Park in 2005, they were required to do it. But it was at the night of the public hearing, delayed it, came back. In November 2017, the city council adopted a TIA ordinance that others have certainly followed, including Gaston County, the town of Cramerton, Belmont, Huntersville, Cornelius, Waxhaw, so on. DOT does not require a traffic study unless 3,000 trips per day. Ours does 1,000 trips per day or 100 per peak hour, correct? So it's much more stringent. So, of course, we have DOT at the table. We have Gaston, Cleveland, Lincoln, MPO at the table as well. We don't work in a vacuum. So I think one of the issues that has been brought up is the TIA is really stringent, but it happens on a certain date. And then other development takes place. So, or other applications are filed after this one, certainly. And then Brady and his group with Kimberly Horn, they represent the city. They don't represent the developer. And that's why we set the ordinance up so the city's best interest would be protected, that it wasn't some consultant that was getting paid to spend Because that has happened in other towns in the past. So I think that gives you a pretty decent snapshot of our TIA ordinance.
Mr. Meadows?
Do I understand you that the traffic consultant works for the city, not for the developer?
That is.
The developer does pay for it, and how much does a typical traffic study cost?
The most recent one, I don't have Holly Heights off the thing, but it's not uncommon for these to be $30,000 to $50,000 on average. There was another one that just submitted, and it was $44,000 to conduct a TIA. So, but yeah, the developer pays all costs. We're just a pass-through.
Mr. Brooks?
The TIA is done in just one day or just multiple days?
Good evening. In terms of collecting the counts, it's on one day. They were collected on Tuesday, May 7th, 2024. It's always a Tuesday through Thursday because Monday and Friday traffic's a little bit off. We make sure that schools are in session.
Mr. Craig?
Will there be access through Mountain Island Village, or will it be his own entrance?
No, own entrance. They're separated.
Anyone else?
Could I hit on Councilmember his question? So one question that you asked about what would occur if the city did not have its ordinance, a traffic study would not have been required. So this development projected trip generation is roughly 1,000 trips per day, roughly 100 peak hour trips, so just barely trips the city's threshold. The city's threshold is a third of NCDOT. So everything we do from a traffic standpoint, we have to meet both state and city requirements because most of the roads out there are state-owned. And so traditionally across the whole state, it's really been NCDOT that has driven that and been the one that has been making those decisions. But as Greg had mentioned, back in 2017, city decided to make an update to their ordinance and basically just raise the bar. So they have all the same requirements. We work in cooperation with NCDOT, but basically raise the bar in terms of what they require. So there's a number of things I can go through, but yeah, it's simply put, a TIA would not have been required.
Mr. Meadows?
Since we're talking about traffic impacts in general, what are the types of improvements off-site that are generally generated from a traffic impact analysis?
Yeah, so they kind of range, but we tend to focus on the intersection. So you think about your congestion points are going to be your intersections. So typically they're focused around there. I will say, so we are by law, we are only required, and we can only ask the developers to pay for their impact. So this is where it gets confused a lot. And growing up around this area, I understand how growth occurs, and we're trying to keep up with growth. But by law, we can only require the developers to pay for their mitigation. So I'd say if we stripped it all down, the point of a TIA is to identify exactly what that delta, what those impacts are, compare them to city and NCDOT thresholds, and then identify what that mitigation is. So typically you're looking at signals, turn lanes. One thing that the city has that the state does not require is multimodal. So we look at bike, ped, trails, that kind of stuff. And so because of the city's ordinance, what they have in place, we identify multi-use paths, sidewalks, those kind of things. And they also require a safety analysis that the state does not as well.
Mr. Meadows?
One last one. So without RTIA, a lot of the developers would not be making any off-site improvements because they wouldn't have had to do a traffic study. Is that a fair statement?
That's fair. NCDOT still has the allowance if you have over 4,000 trips per day on a road, which is most of your roads out there, they can still require a turn lane at the site, but a TIA would not be looked at. In other words, any other off-site intersections would not be studied. Correct.
Mr. Craig?
Not sure you can answer or want to right now, but if denied this request for rezoning, what would be next? Would you go single-family home or?
So I can't speak for the property owner, but the property owner's son is here, and I think he'd be happy to answer questions, but is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hello, I'm Chip. That's my daughter Lily. So my father's a Mount Holly native and
I guess he bought this property when he was just a little bit older than me, just because he believed in the future of Mount Holly. He's had some decline about last year, really, so he started this process really about 3 or 4 years ago as far as on our family's end. But I guess we've not really given any thought to that because just my focus has been on my dad, and he kind of started this thing, so I'm just trying to see it through, and just that's the position that we are in at this moment. But I appreciate your consideration, and obviously on our side, we hope it passes.
Anyone else? Mr. Livingston, are we good here? All right. I closed it. I already closed it, yeah. So we're going to go to our second public hearing, continuing of a public hearing to consider a petition for annexation submitted by Lisa Grice and William Stewart Jr. for a 34.35 acre tract of land located at parcels number 177847, 177844, 177594, 177846, and 218371. Ms. Sanders.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you know, the annexation for Holly Heights was initiated by petitions from December 2024 for these two adjacent properties, was revised and resubmitted by Mr. Stewart's company, SJS of NC LLC, in February of 2026. And so tonight is a continuation of the public hearing that was advertised for the March 9th, 2026 regular council meeting. After the public hearing is over, the request that I would make would be that you allow staff to continue to work with the developer on the finalization of an annexation agreement to bring back at a future meeting.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Sanders? Mr. Meadows.
Do you have any idea what that time frame might be? When might agreements come forward to be considered?
I've spoken with Greg Beal about it fairly recently, the night of the Planning Commission meeting, and I do expect that to develop, over the next matter of weeks. And so I had in my mind that it would most likely come at the next regular meeting, but maybe Mr. Beal's able to speak to that further.
Mr. Mayor. So just wanted to say the reason I'm asking the question is we have a lot of concerned folks in the audience, and I think they would like to know when to be here for the next meeting and plan for that appropriately.
Sir, so we received a draft annexation agreement some time back. It's like step 6 in the process, a 12-step process. So, what we want to do is make sure every condition is spelled out, that no cost to the city are borne at all, that we have a financial guarantee. So if this deal falls through, the city's not on the hook to run water and sewer to the site. And that's been common practice for the last 30 years in the city. So those things can take place over the next couple weeks, and we are prepared to bring that back for your consideration at the May meeting. So that'd be May 11th, I believe. Is that May 12th? May 11th. Doesn't have to go to the planning board. They've already made the recommendation. They do not hear matters of annexation. That's only a council decision.
Any other questions for Mr. Beal? Ms. Sanders? Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to go into our public hearing for this continuation. I have Mr. Brooks and Mr. Meadows making those motions. All in favor? That motion passes. We are in our public hearing. We have no one signed up, so I will entertain a motion to go out of our public hearing. Ms. Shoemaker and Mr. Meadows, all in favor? We're back in our regular meeting. All right. Thank you, Mr. Beal. Thank you, Ms. Anders. We're going to move on to our public comment now. First up is Johnny Piercy. If you would please come up and state your name and address for the record, please.
Johnny Piercy, 911 Timber Lane Drive here in Mount Holly. My family's been here since the 50s. So we have a real vested interest in what's going on. When I saw this a few weeks ago, this whole plan about the downtown Veterans Park, I remember whenever we voted for this or voted about spending this money, it was going to be a park. We were going to have an amphitheater. We were going to do a lot of things that could draw us downtown, put us together as a group, and have an amazing time together. But then, when I saw this a couple of weeks ago, this layout, all of a sudden, I see all these apartments. Then I find out they're for rent. Rental apartments, not somebody buying these things. And then I take a look a little deeper, and we have this park. But the park, my understanding was it was on this end, now it's down on the other end. And it serves well if you're a contractor and you have all of these rentals to do, that you have these amenities that says, well, look, we've got a park right here on the premises. But my question to you, to everybody, would be, what's the value to me as a citizen that pays the taxes, that helped pay the taxes that bought the property? Are we looking out for the Mount Holly citizens? Or are we looking out for a contractor out of Texas that's in it for the profit, not for what's good for me or any of the others that are in here? We've heard a couple of things. When I look at the park and then I look at all the stuff that's being taken up, my understanding is that the apartments, you got like 1.5 allotments of parking space. Well, y'all are going to have at least probably 2 people.
1 minute.
Where are they going to park? Where are they going to park? And then at the park, who's going to park? There's no parking space. And that's a big issue throughout Mount Holly. You want me at an event, I got to have somewhere to park. Because I live about a mile out, and I'm not walking. I'm old now. The other part is exactly what's been brought up here over and over and over, is the traffic. I mean, I live on North Main, so I understand that one. But downtown, if you ever pull out of the bank at Wells Fargo, you can't turn down to Highland and go down and get on. There's so many accidents now. If you put another, I don't know how many there are, 100 apartments in here, which side is that going to come out on, Central or Catawba? That's going to be a problem, and we need to fix that. And we need to think about it and not move too quickly, and think about what we need to do for businesses and not one single contractor who can then bully us into doing other things.
Thank you, Mr. Piercy. Next up, we have Mr. David Berg.
David Berg, 711 North Main Street. And I'm basically here to talk about 2 jokes. The first joke has been mentioned, is parking. Handicap parking in this city is an absolute joke. And if this city thinks we got adequate handicap parking, then this city is a joke. I've got a wife that has trouble walking. I can't even bring her downtown because there's no handicap parking. That's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm ashamed of this city for that. The second joke is this. We voted years ago that we didn't want the amphitheater put in. So then the 4 horsemen of the, whatever they are, decided they was going to come up with another plan. This is the joke. Again, you got a park that's down here next to the underpass. There's no parking to get to it. And if you think I'm in favor of this, then you're the joke, because I'm not. I absolutely think this is ridiculous. And I can't believe that people are trying to shove this on the citizens of this town. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up is Mr. Jeff Lee.
My name is Jeff Lee. I'm the owner of the Vintage Nest Home and Gift Shop in downtown Mount Holly, and I'm here tonight to express my full support of the approval of the streetlights proposed development. I believe this project has the potential to be generationally transformational to our downtown, not only economically, but in the way it strengthens the fabric of our community. Mount Holly has always been a place where people step up, volunteer, and build something bigger than themselves. Our nonprofits, civic groups, neighborhood organizations have a long tradition of creating connection, supporting one another, and meeting real community needs. That spirit is one of the reasons I chose to locate my shop in Mount Holly. The community here isn't just friendly, it's engaged, it's invested, and it's proud of the place we're becoming together. What excites me about the Streetlights proposed project is their approach to development aligns with that same community building DNA. Their projects around the country are known for creating spaces where people naturally gather, public areas, parks, shared environments that encourage connection. They don't build just buildings, they build communities. The development would complement and strengthen the work so many at Mount Holly are already doing. It supports the vision of a downtown where people live, walk, shop, and participate in the life of the city. It brings economic vitality, yes, but it also brings the kind of thoughtful design and public space that reinforces the spirit of our town. To the Streetlights team, thank you for presenting this proposal. Based on the quality and character of your other project, tonight feels like a moment of affirmation that the efforts of so many in Mount Holly to build a vibrant, welcoming, connected community have helped attract a developer of this caliber. I'm proud to support it, and I hope the council will move forward with it.
Next up, Ms. Glenda Painter.
Good evening. I'm Glenda Painter. I live at 404 Timberlane Drive, and I wanted to speak about the proposed Veterans Park expansion. My husband and I regularly attend council meetings, and we were really excited about the original park expansion plan and all the amenities that were available. Now we're almost $7 million later, and park progress is minimal, and the original plan has been discarded for a very different vision. The strategic vision plan has a core value to keep the small town feel, and the new park plan does not support that goal. Some examples are Mount Holly's parking situation is terrible, and the current plan does nothing to improve the condition. The addition of apartments in the park area will only make downtown parking worse. No parking is planned specifically for park visitors, so that parents bringing children to the playground would not have a place to park where they conveniently could get out to play. The playground is also planned at the corner of Highland and Central, and that's arguably one of the busiest in the city and has been the site of many accidents. The current plan shows that the park area is smaller with limited open space. The downtown parks that we have visited typically have abundant open space where you can sit and read, have picnics, or let children fly a kite. The proposed space does not appear to support any of this. Sidewalks, park benches, they're not noted, so there are no places to stop and visit or simply take in a great morning as you would expect in a park. Also, the Veterans Memorial looks very small. If we're really planning to honor our veterans, it should be something substantial, and the plan shows the memorial as more of an afterthought without giving it the respect that's due. The new design appears to be an amenity for the proposed apartments instead of city residents as a whole. We already have parks with sports areas, so pickleball courts in the middle of town would take away from open space that could be used for art in the park, children's programs, and more events. There are other issues to consider, such as during due diligence, Mount Holly will not have an option to cancel the sale. Once the contracts are all done, Mount Holly no longer owns the property. The outside entity will own a large portion of downtown Mount Holly.
1 minute.
Rental apartments that can be sold by the owner whenever they decide with future conditions unknown. With a huge influx of population in Mount Holly and the problems with infrastructure, the park would be a great opportunity for a place of quiet and peace amid the growing hustle and bustle. But I believe that the current plan does not meet that small town field. In fact, it seems to me the strategic vision plan may need a revision based on the new normal in Mount Holly of exploding population and traffic. In conclusion, a decision of this magnitude needs to be examined from many sides and opinions before a final decision is made that will impact the city for many years to come. Thank you for your time and attention.
Next, Mr. Rodney Williams.
Rodney Williams, 315 South Main Street. I'd like to give some reasons I oppose this project, and I'd also like to give a possible solution. Number one, it does not adhere to our strategic vision plan. Time and time again, City Council refers to the strategic vision plan to approve or disapprove a project. It has not been mentioned for this project. It does not fit our core values. Core value number 1 was presented in a series of videos. Ms. Harris presented the first one, and it says, preserve and enhance our small town character, maintain a small town sense of community. Core value number 2 was presented by Ms. Shoemaker, connect our downtown core and expand a visitor experience. An apartment complex absolutely does not adhere to the strategic vision plan. With no public parking and only one entrance, this design creates a private park and an amenity for the apartment complex paid for by the taxpayers. By building apartments rather than townhomes, not only do we lose pride in ownership, but as the city grows, we deprive individuals an opportunity to invest and create individual wealth in home ownership. Our numbers don't work. You're gonna give a developer property you paid $7 million for. In return, they'll build a $3 million park. That's a $4 million loss. I think I come up with $100,000 tax revenue per year. It's gonna cost you $50,000 a year to maintain the park, to public utilities, police, and fire. That's a 40-year payback on $4 million. In addition, from what I understand, the developers can sell the property or develop to different standards, and there's no repercussion to the developers the way the contract's written now. I think if the solution to this was, let's hire an architect.
1 minute.
The architect will design what you want, what the city wants, what we need. They'll find a developer. That's what architects do. They'll find a developer to fit your plan. Put the park behind the Presbyterian Church where you have public parking, build townhomes, mixed retail, or put in some senior housing. Do something the city can be proud of, not just what a developer wants to hear.
Next, Chris Hargett. Chris? All right, we'll go to Mr. Jared Ficino.
Jared Ficino, 157 Oakland Street. I'm also going to comment on the downtown development. Tonight, I'd like to take the liberty to address you all as friends. I believe that's what we have become over these past several months. So my friends, I think this vote tonight is the most important vote since I moved here 12 years ago. Where on the surface, downtown was pretty dead, but there was a lot of things happening prior years that brought us to this potentially historic day. I'd like to offer a brief timeline around Mount Holly's planning history and how it supports this project. In 2003, Mount Holly launched its first modern community-driven visioning effort. Residents, business owners, and civic leaders came together to define the values that would guide our future. I see some of you in this room tonight. Those values were clear: strengthen downtown, support local businesses, invest in public spaces. That same year, voters approved a $5 million bond referendum for streetscape, park improvements, and alcohol sales in Mount Holly. Both passed with 60% support. This 2003 vision process became the foundation for the 2008 and 2018 strategic vision plans adopted by the city. I believe these plans reinforce core concepts for this downtown development. And I quote, establishing a thriving downtown. Increasing residential density in and around downtown is essential to sustaining a thriving business district. Expand public parks and civic spaces to support community life and downtown activity. Create family-friendly outdoor spaces that can host events, concerts, and public gatherings. Over the past several years, the city has invested roughly $6.2 million to acquire key downtown parcels. This positioned Mount Holly to shape its own future, not simply react to it. There are additional soft costs associated with these properties and the bond referendum that brings the total to approximately $7 million. In September of last year, council voted 6-0 to enter into an MOU with Street Rights Residential, a residential developer. I made this development project the cornerstone of my campaign when I ran for city council. I had a pretty strong showing on election day. Mr. Craig and Ms. Shoemaker also emphasized this project, and both had convincing wins for re-election. I believe there is strong public support for this project. In reading the contracts, the city retains ownership of 40% of the property, the park, valued at $2.5 million. Streetlights will spend up to $4 million building the park, and another $1 million in public improvements, which includes at least 30 public parking spaces. I think that covers the $7 million already spent by the city. In return, streetlights will invest around $30 million in a 3-acre high-end townhome community. These are not apartments, there's a big difference. That will bring approximately 200 new residents to our city. This should be a welcome infusion for our local businesses, churches, and nonprofits. The park represents an opportunity to expand our growing arts community and host year-round events. This is connecting community with nature. Thank you.
Mr. Jim Hope.
Oh, okay. Jim Hope, 104 Clover Street, Mount Hollywood, North Carolina. You heard me speak last time at the public hearing. Why we closed it, I don't know, other than you did not want comments from the public. But tonight we have public comment, and I am not for this project like I expressed. I would like to see something that would be the best we could be in Mount Holly. Now, 5 years or 3 years from now, is this project going to be the best we can be in Mount Holly? No, it's not. Who are you representing? You representing this developer, or are you representing the citizens of Mount Holly? If you're sitting in a building right now that is the best we could build and we could do. We built this building under contractor at risk. We was fortunate at that time that Ms. Harris, David Moore, was on this project with us, and this building is the best we could be. That's what I want to see from Mount Holly. Whatever project we build, we don't need to have more people in Mount Holly. We need to have Mount Holly and more of the people that you come, and you can't give them that with a bedroom community. I didn't serve 31 years to have the feeling that I have when I came in that door. Seems like this council, I did that on purpose. It seems like we got animosity amongst this council. Let's get on the same page. Let's make it the best for Mount Holly. And let's be proud of what happens 3 and 4 and 5 years ago. Let's don't make the developer rich.
Mr. Billy Rick.
Billy Rick, 125 South Main Street. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, and special thanks to everyone that showed up tonight. It's been a long night. Thanks for sticking around. I'm here to speak on the Streetlights Development Project also. Wow, what an opportunity we have for Mount Holly. I see this development as something very special for Mount Holly. The park. We finally get the park that everyone has wanted for years. For the many years that I've lived in Mount Holly and been a part of Mount Holly, I've always heard we need a downtown park, we need a destination park. We will finally get that park. Townhomes in downtown Mount Holly. Part of the strategic vision plan was more residential in downtown Mount Holly. We will have approximately 200 more people living in downtown Mount Holly. Parking, a lot of talk about parking tonight. This project is going to add 37 more public parking spaces than we have right now. There'll be parking on Central Avenue, Municipal Lane that has no parking currently, and 6 parking spaces on Catawba Avenue. On behalf of the tenants that we work with and partnered with in downtown Mount Holly, this creates an opportunity for these tenants to have 200 people within walking distance to their doors. These tenants are excited about this opportunity. We're currently working on the project at 131 South Main Street. We're in deep discussions with 2 potential tenants for a 5,000 square foot restaurant. Both prospects own several existing restaurants throughout Gaston and Mecklenburg County. Both prospects are extremely excited about this development, but are waiting to commit until a decision has been made on this project. As a business owner and property owner, on behalf of all the tenants and their employees, we ask for you to vote and approve this project. Thank you.
Next up is old business. There will be an update on Streetlights Residential Development Agreement. Mr. Jonathan Blanton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, 2 weeks ago, the city held the required public legislative hearing on the question of a joint development project conveying real estate on East Catawba Avenue, East Central Avenue, and Municipal Lane in downtown Mount Holly under North Carolina General Statute 160D-1315. This has commonly been referred to as the Veteran Park expansion and the downtown redevelopment project. Typically, following public hearings, the City Council moves forward with action following the question on the subject of the public hearing, but due to outstanding negotiations of a technical nature surrounding certain provisions of the agreement, Council did not take action 2 weeks ago. I want to apologize for any public confusion surrounding this issue. Having rewatched the meeting from 2 weeks ago, having heard from several people, we could have done a better job making it clear that the closed session that we had 2 weeks ago was added to this agenda in order to finalize these discussions and that the agreements were not ready for council's approval. So I do apologize for any confusion that may have been created a couple of weeks ago. I'm the worst guilty of being taking for granted the terms that we use so frequently as it pertains to parliamentarian matters, and I want to briefly explain the action that the council did take 2 weeks ago. Under North Carolina general statutes, the city is required to advertise for and hold a public hearing prior to voting to move forward with a project under this particular statute. We met this statutory requirement 2 weeks ago when council closed the public hearing following the one attendee's comments on the deal. Until such time that the hearing is closed, the city council could not take action to approve or deny these agreements. A vote to close the public hearing constituted a vote to move forward with considering and holding a vote on the proposed agreements, and not a vote to close the public hearing. It was not a vote in favor of or in opposition of the proposed agreements. It simply closed the public process, which was statutorily required, in order for the council to make a definitive decision at a future date. Over the last 2 weeks, the city attorney and staff have been finalizing the purchase and sale agreement, the development agreement, and the escrow agreement for the city council's consideration. There have been no material changes to the information that I presented 2 weeks ago as it pertains to the townhome project or the public amenities. The issues that we finalized were of a legal and technical nature, and the agreements are available in full on the city's website, and they are before the city council tonight. As a reminder, beginning last year, the city has been working with Streetlights Residential, who is here with us tonight, a Texas-based entity responsible for the Bowl at Ballantyne and a vast portfolio of residential projects across the country. We have been talking with them to discuss a mixed-use product that consists of a townhome, public park, amphitheater, and open space products. As a recap, following numerous meetings between the City Council and Streetlights in the latter part of 2025, a Mount Holly Matters Community Forum was facilitated with our friends at the Mount Holly Community Development Foundation, where we presented these renderings to the community. We continued those discussions between our city team and the Streetlights team, which eventually led to the purchase and sale agreement, the development agreement, and the escrow agreement that is before the council. These were worked on in tandem to facilitate this transaction. This rendering shows the townhome project. The agreements provide that between 96 and 120 townhomes be built on the site west of the creek downtown. The agreements further require the developer to conduct any required feasibility analysis which are deemed reasonably necessary in the planning of this project. This would include infrastructure capacity analysis, traffic and parking analysis, and utilities and stormwater analysis. The project will provide for approximately 130 parking spaces for the residential units, approximately 37 surface spaces, and additional approximately 50 on-street parking spaces. This would total around 217 parking spots for the townhome park project. It provides for two entrances off Municipal and Central, with the hope that a third will be possible off of Catawba. It also requires 15,000 square feet of commercial space to be built, which, with the proposed farmers market and renovations at 131 South Main, will yield over 60,000 square feet of new commercial space in this particular area if approved over the next 3 years. This next rendering shows the actual park. The park is 2.73 acres, and the agreements require that it be built and turned back over to the city. This requires a stage with attached restrooms, a playground, pickleball courts, and lawn space to be constructed. The general statutes provide for specific steps to be taken in order to utilize these provisions. The first is that an advertisement for the public hearing occur twice a week leading up to the public hearing. The city complied with this requirement with the recent advertisement in the Gazette and on our website, and of course we held that public hearing 2 weeks ago. Secondly, the city must state the appraised value of the property in question and the proposed consideration. As you can see here, here's the appraised value. The townhome project is appraised at $2,540,000. Streetlights team is proposing a consideration of $3,150,000 for the proposed park amenity. The escrow agreement provides that $4,150,000 be put in escrow, and the agreement also provides for an additional $1,050,000 to be put towards public improvements. Total, the agreement provides for a $5.2 million investment be provided by the Streetlights team. Should the City Council proceed with these agreements in the future, these are the next steps in the tentative timeline to move forward. Upon adoption of these agreements, a 6-month window will begin. It will be the effective date. After the effective date, we will have our due diligence period throughout that time. Within 12 months after the expiration of the due diligence period, the developer will finalize all plans and specifications, permits for the project. Within 30 days after the issue of all permits for the project, city and the developer will close on the townhome property. Within 18 months after the closing described in this subsection, the developer shall have achieved substantial completion of the public park, and within 30 months after closing, a certificate of occupancy is required based on the terms of this deal. Again, I am happy to answer any questions that the council may have. This is an update on where we are, how we got to where we are, and I or the city attorney staff will be glad to answer any questions that you may have pertaining to this agreement or any of the tenets of these 3 documents.
Any questions for Mr. Blanton? Mr. Brooks?
During the due diligence period, is there any way for us to get out of the situation if it doesn't look favorable for us?
If the developer does not meet the agreed upon tenets throughout the due diligence, during the due diligence period, then yes, the city would have certain ways to get out of this agreement if both parties are not acting in good faith and if certain things happen that we have agreed will happen or will not happen.
Mr. Craig? I'm sorry, Mr. Reeves?
The exit that you mentioned that could be on Catawba, could you maybe tell us where that may be, possibly could be?
Sure. And of course, upon the completion of the due diligence, a 12-month period will kick off where design of the project will occur. Currently, there are 2 entrances into the project. The Streetlights team is hopeful that they would be able to find an additional entrance exit off of Catawba near where the proposed new farmers market would be. So if you're looking at this property, it would be abutting the church property off of Catawba Avenue.
Thank you.
Mr. Craig?
I make a motion to approve the agreements with Streetlights Residential.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Craig to approve this.
That's a question real fast.
I'll get right to that. And yeah, and then I have a second by Mr. Meadows. Any discussion? Mr. Brooks?
Can we slow down a little bit real fast and get through the question period?
Mr. Brooks, you can absolutely ask any questions you would like during this discussion period on the motion.
All right, I'd like to make a little statement here. This is a monumental decision for this city, the Mount Holly. And as mayor, I think we need to pause before making a final decision on this issue. The city manager provided the final agreements to the city council for the consideration yesterday afternoon, and the city attorney has provided changes to the agreement this afternoon. This is absolutely, there's no rush to make a decision on these agreements. We have to make sure that we get it right because there is no turning back once we commit ourselves to this deal. I think we have options and we need to take a hard look at the terms of these agreements. I appreciate streetlights and I appreciate staff working to get these agreements ready for review, but I have a few reservations. Among these, that we do not have the right of first refusal. Once we agree to, to the deals, the purchaser can walk away for any reason, while the city cannot only terminate for certain reasons during due diligence. And I do not believe the public has had ample time to review these full agreements. Again, there is no rush, and we are not bound to take any action on this tonight. We should treat this project the same as we do with any annexation. I think we need a full cost-benefit analysis to see what this is going to cost the city of Mount Holly in the long term. The city has spent over $6 million, and we have to be responsible stewards to our residents. I believe evaluating all options is a big part of that. Just today, I was talking about the possibility of getting an architect involved to perhaps put a better RFP out that shows numerous options for what this project could be. This is going to affect Mount Holly for generations, and we have to think about the next 50 to 100 years. Council, again, there is no rush, and I think we need to pause a decision on this resolution until we have more time to review these documents and give the public more opportunity to review these documents. Any more conversation, any more comments? Mr. Craig?
Only comment I really have is, even though we just got the revision today, if you will, this conversation has been ongoing for almost a year, so it's nothing new. And so don't feel like it's being rushed by certain statements. It's not. We've done a lot of due diligence without actually being in a official due diligence period. So it's not just happening real quick. This is something that's been going on for a while because you've been there.
35 pages, front and back, today and yesterday. What would you do? Mr. Craig?
We had only a couple of revisions, though. Those 35 pages were given in March and before that, but those couple of revisions were only made, so I can read a couple sentences in a couple hours.
Any more comments? Okay, I have Mr. Craig has made a motion to move forward with this, seconded by Mr. Meadows. All in favor? I have Mr. Meadows, Ms. Shoemaker, and Mr. Craig in favor. All opposed? I have Mr. Brooks, Mr. Reeves, and Ms. Harris. And I will break the tie, and we will not move forward with this. We will put this on pause and look at different aspects of this. All right. Next on our agenda is the city manager report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have several things that I want to share with the council and the public this evening. It has been a very busy few weeks here in the city of Mount Holly with a lot of exciting projects happening. As you can see here, the art was changed outside of the municipal complex over the last week. We will be planning a formal event to showcase the artists to highlight this particular project. A special thanks to our planning department and our Public Arts Advisory Council for advising, recommending, and seeing this project into fruition. And if you have not seen it, it is quite an impressive additions that have been made. So again, we will be planning to showcase that at a future date, but certainly invite the public to stop by and check it out if you are out and about in the municipal complex. On that same art note, we recently completed the AccuVision mural We are very proud of this. Again, we're going to plan another event that we can showcase and highlight this success. It's another tremendous example of the public arts program that we have been working on for so many years here for the city of Mount Holly, and a great testament to the dedication of that civic group, that being our Public Arts Advisory Committee that has given input on these particular projects. Also, we have changed out our leased art across the city there. This is one of our newer pieces that is directly across the street at Arts on the Greenway, so we will be glad to also provide additional information over the upcoming days as we showcase the continued success, again, through increasing vibrancy through art and placemaking. We received great news last week that Duke Energy has approved our lease to put the River Street Bridge over the waterway through there. This has been a long time coming. We've been able to get our FERC permit, be able to get Duke's blessing on this, and we are moving very quickly. We are hoping that we'll be able to see this project completed by early summer, because it is going to be such a showpiece, not only to Mount Holly, but to Gaston County, with the largest pedestrian bridge in the county. So stay tuned, and we will certainly be planning a huge celebratory event on the day that we are able to cut the ribbon on this project. We continue to make great progress with the Kemp A. Michael Way, the connector road between the Fairfield end that will connect YMCA Drive and Caldwell Drive. This is a real shot from last week of the roadway. We will have to do a few more things, such as the final leg of the paving, and then we are working diligently to kick off phase 2 of this project, which we hope to have awarded in the upcoming days. That, of course, will be back before the council for consideration at such time that we do receive those bids. Fantastic event on Saturday with Chalk the Walk. Thank you to our Parks and Rec staff, our elected officials that attended the day. It was a beautiful day with a lot of great participation. One of many events that are currently going on. Of course, our Get to Know Gaston event is going to happen on Wednesday at Tuck Park from 4 to 7, so we certainly invite the community to come out and learn more about our county and our city government. That will be happening again Wednesday beginning at 4. We will be having our small business networking event Thursday evening at 6 p.m. at Muddy River Distillery, where we kicked off these meetings a year or so ago. So we certainly invite our elected officials, we invite our business owners to come out, network, and learn about the great things that are happening here in our downtown business network. Also, we will have our Riverhawk races this coming Saturday. We invite everyone to attend. And again, thank you to our friends at the Community Development Foundation for putting that together and facilitating that event. It will be happening right here at the Municipal Complex, so we are very much looking forward to another successful run this year. Also, before we meet again, the Merry Market will be here at the Grand Hall on Saturday, April 25th from 10 to 4 p.m., so certainly invite the community to attend, to check out the vendors, and to check out that particular event that will be happening before our work session. And that is a wrap for the events that are going to be happening before we get together again. Of course, 2 weeks from now, I'll have more to report about the spring activities that will be coming up very soon. We are in the midst of budget prep. We will be before the council in May with a recommended budget, department heads, our finance team, management reviewing requests, putting together a draft budget that we will be presenting to council in May. As always, I am happy to answer any questions about any ongoing issues, projects, or items the council may have for me tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Any questions for Mr. Blanton? Mr. Brooks?
What date did you say the bridge will be complete, roundabout?
I didn't, did I? We hope to have it done, we're hoping within the next 60 days is what we're aiming for. And of course, it's going to be based on availability of contractors. Yes.
I was joking.
Good answer.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you, Mr. Blanton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Next up, we have closed session pursuant NCGS 143-318, 11A, 3, and 5. I would entertain a motion to go into closed session. Ms. Harris, and second by Mr. Reeves. All in favor? We are now in closed session.